So back in the early days of the Cold War, we used some surprisingly low-tech methods to deliver psychological warfare propaganda into the Soviet Union and Eastern Bloc countries. One of the techniques that we used was something that America had used all the way back to World War II, which is that you would take a balloon, you would load up the balloon to carry pamphlets, propaganda, that kind of thing, and you would release it so that it would float over enemy territory. Once the balloon reached about 40,000 feet, they would explode and shower those pamphlets and propaganda materials all over the ground underneath. So we used that during the Cold War as well, to float propaganda into the Eastern Bloc. They had a lot of discussions about what kind of propaganda should be loaded into these balloons. They used things like pamphlets denouncing communist leaders, denouncing communist ideology, all of those things. But there's one particular suggestion that was made at a meeting, which did not make it past the planning stages, and I really wish I could have been a fly on the wall for this meeting. Instead, I tend to reenact this for my students. So somewhere in America, there's a meeting going on for the National Committee for a Free Europe, which is a CIA front group. And they're trying to decide what they're going to put in these balloons to shower all over the Eastern Bloc. And one guy says, look, I have an idea, but you're going to have to bear with me on this because it's going to sound weird. What we're going to do is we're going to take a bunch of extra large size condoms, at which point I can only assume somebody in the room goes, I don't like where this is going, Steve. I think we should stop right now. And Steve says, no, bear with me. Steve is, of course, a fake name. I have no idea who came up with this idea. He says, look, we take a bunch of extra large size condoms, we repackage them as medium size condoms, we load them onto the balloons, and put them over the Soviet Union, and they explode. And then, when Soviet soldiers find these condoms, they will be emasculated. Their morale will be destroyed because they will think that Americans have such massive dicks that they will just feel inadequate. And this will destroy their morale and end the Cold War. Probably they didn't sell it that high that it would end the Cold War, but still. And probably someone in the meeting said, look, I don't think the US government is going to let us have funds to repackage magnum-sized condoms as medium-sized ones. I don't think that's going to work. And Steve responds, well, fine. If you want to be boring, we can just go back to sending anti-communist pamphlets, I guess. And that idea never gets off the ground. Knowing what I know about Russian machismo, however, I think it could have worked. I think we should have done it, and it's a shame that it was killed in the planning stages. I really do. And my students find this absolutely hysterical when I teach it.